Hi, I'm Kelsey Cobb. For my creative nonfiction piece, I decided to do it on the 1983 NC State team that won the national championship, and also Jimmy Valvano. So, in order for something to be considered a creative nonfiction, it has to have a surface meaning and a deeper meaning. And my surface meaning is just that, basically to talk about what that team did and accomplished. And my deeper meaning is how a coach in winning a championship can affect you not only as an athlete, but as a person. So for my topic of explanation, I have a quote from the ESPN's 30 for 30 on the NC State team. It was called Survive in Advance. That 1983 championship, it means something very different than it meant 30 years ago, because they've had to deal with both the greatness of achievement and the loss. It becomes a story that's really a life story and not just a basketball story, and that's what made it worth telling. And I thought really to introduce the topic, I'd show you a video from the 30 for 30 just to kind of give you a feel for who Jimmy Valvano was and who that NC State team was.
Step foot in this building. Sam was all in a circle, telling us his goal was to win the national championship. From day one, he starts talking about this dream of his. I know I'm going to win the national championship. Who says it on their first introduction to their players? I know I'm going to win a national championship. But the more he spoke, the more we set up, the more we listened. He painted a picture for us. He said, if I can get you to see what I'm seeing, dream what I'm dreaming, we can get it. We can win it. This could be the team. My goal, what I want to do each year, is to win a national championship. I want to come to the next match. We have one practice every year. They come up on a court. There's no balls. There's no drills. All we do is practice cutting the net down. It's true. I have a scissor, a gold scissor. We carry each other up, cut the net, they put me up. I cut the last one, we do that. We was acting like we just won. Everybody's cutting down the nets and everything. But it was a serious deal. I can tell you the first time I was on, probably the second time, but when you practice something often, you start to get into it. That's my dream. Cutting the nets down. And I am going to dream my dream.
So my first point that I was going to get into is success takes time. And Coach Valvano began his career in 1980 at NC State, and his ultimate goal, like he said, was to win the national championship, but it didn't necessarily start out the way he had planned. His first season, the team barely made it above 500. The next two seasons, they lost the first round of the tournament. And during the 80s, college basketball was as good as basketball has really ever been, because athletes, they weren't one and done. They played all 4 years. They finished their careers at their schools before they would go into the NBA. And the next point I was going to touch on was overcoming adversity. And heading into Coach Valvano's fourth year, the team was led by seniors and future NBA players, Derek Whittenberg, Sidney Lowe, and Thurl Bailey. And during their first conference game against number 2, Virginia, they were winning behind the three-point shooting of Derek Whittenberg, but they lost the game because Derek Whittenberg ended up breaking his foot during the second half. And the loss of a star player or senior leader can put any team into a slump. And they ended up being blown out by defending national championships in UNC. They were blown out by Wake Forest, and they lost to Maryland and to Notre Dame. And they just kind of like, everything seemed like it was starting to fall apart for that NC State team. And Coach Valvano made sure that the team knew that he was their first believer, like he had to believe in them for them to believe in themselves. And I have a quote from Sidney Lowe. Coach V would pull me aside and tell me I had to pick up the team. I had to make sure they were They knew we were going to turn this around, and he would tell me we were going to get through this, and I believed him. Although the team dropped to 13-8, they started to really start playing their game, and Derek Whittenberg was soon to return. They put themselves in a position where they had to win the ACC tournament, which was the most competitive league in the college basketball at the time. And that's just what they did. They ended up winning 71-70 over Wake Forest. They took defending national championships UNC to overtime and ended up winning. And they beat number 2 Virginia in the finals to get the ultimate bid to go to the NCAA tournament. And Jimmy V had a style of play where they were up tempo, they would foul, which really wasn't the way most coaches played. I have a quote from Thurl Bailey. "We believe in Coach V, we trusted him. He really carries us a lot when we get down because we know it's hard to have a succession of disappointments, then try to regroup and try to pull ourselves together again." And my last point is greatness is achievable. They went into the national championship, and you can see with the scores, they never really had a game where they were up by a lot. Most of the games that they played, they were down, and that's why it was one of the greatest championships runs of all time, because they really weren't supposed to be there. They weren't supposed to make it that far and end up beating number 1 Houston in the finals. And then Coach, I have a quote from Coach K saying, "Could this actually have just happened? It was unbelievable." Like when you're trying to think up a definition of unbelievable, you say State beating Houston. That was unbelievable. And as Coach V got older, he ended up getting diagnosed with cancer, and he was said to fight cancer the same way that he coached basketball, by learning all he can, talking up a storm, and always insisting on the last shot. That was a quote from Sports Illustrated. And just to close it, I have a quote from Derek Whittenberg on the death of his teammate Lorenzo Charles, saying, "For the past 28 years, Lorenzo and I have been linked together through one championship moment, and we'd be linked together forever."